What's happening, chaps? And welcome to Chaps Chat with me, Dom.
Me, Ollie.
And today we've got our guest, Matador. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you for having us.
Cheers.
Thanks for coming, boys. So, as some of you may have seen already, Matador, we sort of posted them on our social media so you guys can have a look at what they're doing. We just want to sort of let the viewers know a little bit about your brand, if that's all right, and what you're doing at the minute.
Yeah, of course. So, right from the start, I set up Matador. Obviously, COVID came about. Everyone was like mentally not great, not too in the right position. Mm-hmm. So I sort of set this up mid 2021 to basically like support the mental health journey of people. Now I reached out to Michael to like see if he wants to come on board, and so he came on board. And from then on, we've taken on Josh, a guy called Ethan, who's been helping us with the designs, and then Callum, our videographer.
Nice. So you've got a big team already then.
Yeah, little team to
grow. But yeah,
you all mates before as well.
Yeah, but so I knew Michael through college, uni.
Yeah, we met.
And then Josh, we go to the same calisthenics gym.
Yeah, so we know each other from training. Really.
So you're strong men as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, fairly.
I do look at your post and I feel I need to get in the gym, mate.
Speak for yourself.
No,
that's cool, man. So like, that's not even really a long time since you started.
No, so
September 2021 was sort of.
Yeah, that. So September 22 we released our drop one. So that was I say that kick-started our brand. Everything prior to that was just behind the scenes sort of stuff. Like creating the logo, getting the market audience there, things like that. And then drop one happened. We've just released drop two.
Nice.
And it's going well. So,
good, man. It's wicked. Yeah. And that to start like a clothing brand, like you must have to do a lot of research to understand how that sort of.
When Liam came to me about it, he said, "I've got a brand idea," and obviously we always knew it was going to be activewear, gym stuff like that. But we were like, we need something else. What do we both care about? And so mental health came about, and we know loads of people that are affected by it. So we thought if we can do something where people can go to the gym but also get help beyond it, say with their mental health stuff like that, then I think it would be perfect, and it just gelled really, really well. Yeah,
it's amazing, mate. It's a really good idea as well, to be fair, and the actual clothes that you guys are doing look really nice as well. So, obviously, is it 5% of your profits go to charity?
Yes. So on the website, we have like a subsidiary part of our Shopify store. So I've set this up. So it's campaign against living miserably calm.
Cool.
Mental Health UK, Mental Health Foundation. So when someone orders from us, they'll get to select one of those charities.
Nice. Nice. So they've got a bit of choice as well.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah, it's a really good idea, lads. Yeah, really good. But I'm glad it's going well for you guys as well. Obviously, being young lads, like you lot got a very bright future.
And you get to work with your mates. Like, what's better than that?
Not wrong there.
What about like so? Outside of that, are you guys doing like personal training and all that in the gym, or?
Yeah, I've been a gymnastics coach for about 5 years, and I recently got my personal training qualification about 6-ish months ago. So I'm in the midst of building my own brand along with that, and hopefully we'll start working with a gym, and then we can get some content filmed there. Sort of things kind of bounce off each other quite nicely with that industry. So, but yeah, I've been gymming it for as long as I can remember, really, from rugby to gymnastics to now doing the calisthenics, which is where I've met Liam. So
wicked, mate. Cool. Well, what we'll do anyway, obviously, with the podcast, whatever we upload, we'll tag all you guys in it. So if you guys are interested in PTs and all that, get in touch with these boys.
Or Ollie, he'll sort you out.
Mate, if you want to know how to eat loads of rubbish food, that's it. But cool, man. So what's the sort of plan coming up for Matador?
So obviously drop 3, we just released drop 2, and it's more just looking at how people responded to drop 2, what they liked, what they didn't like, and then sort of basing the next sort of year upon that. But I think, as we said, the mental health aspect is the biggest thing. So as long as we're helping people in 2023, 2024, 2025, then that's probably the most important thing for us. And obviously, if we can sell a few clothes along the way.
Happy days.
But obviously the main focus of it is to help people out, which is nice.
It's amazing. So with the whole mental health side of it, is that related to what you guys have been through in the past, or is it just something you've like had an interest in helping people?
Yeah, I think everyone like obviously goes through tough times and tough challenges, but the extent of them are different for some.
Yeah,
sure.
So obviously I've had my problems in the past. I'm sure a lot of us have.
Yeah.
So yeah, it affects everyone. It's not
It doesn't discriminate.
Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah,
and it's quite interesting because when you mentioned you started the brand in 2021, so in COVID is probably when I suffered or I had severe anxiety, and it came. I didn't realise I was working remotely for a long time, and I think my life became quite compartmentalised, and actually not having as much human interaction was a major part in that having anxiety. So I think a lot, like you said, a lot of people were experiencing difficulties in that time. So I think what a great time to start that type of brand. And I think in that period and in the period now that we're in, there's a lot of people that can benefit off the back of that, because it's quite niche. I've never heard of anyone else building a brand of clothing that's focused around mental health. So I'd imagine you're the first ones that have kind of actually got some traction in that area to do it.
There's a few sort of companies that do it just as casual clothing wear, so like Boys Get Sad too. They do it, but because a lot of ours is focused on the gym, that's like the niche. I put a video up probably about a year ago, and I just said message us on Instagram if you need a chat, and then we probably had 100, 200 messages.
Just say up to 250 messages on
and
Instagram.
Loads of people just reaching out. A lot of them obviously gym goers. You look at their Instagrams, they put on this front. And then they're messaging us asking for. We say to them like, we're not professionals.
Yeah.
This isn't proper like professional advice. And if you do need that help, then these are numbers you can call. But we just had a chat with them. I'm having a chat on Instagram, on TikTok with a guy now who's really struggling. We build up a relationship with him, and like you get that personal touch with people if you're able to help them out, which is really nice.
Yeah,
which I don't think a lot of clothing brands or gym brands necessarily do.
I mean, to be so in touch with your actual customer base is like that's amazing. Do you know what I mean? And I think it sort of like puts the value in your brand as well about that. You know, you are caring about people and you do actually. You know.
I think it goes really well like side and side, because a lot of people who are struggling with something try and have sort of an outing so they can kind of focus their energy on something else. I mean, I started taking the gym seriously during lockdown because that was for me. You know, I'm young, and all of a sudden it's like, what is life going to actually be like? Like, you don't know what's going to happen, how long we're going to be in it. I missed 2 of my birthdays. All of a sudden you're like, whoa, like I'm now an adult, and things kind of happen really fast. So I just put my energy into the gym because it's a good way to kind of like, you know, clear my head, clear those thoughts. You've got an hour where you can just put on your headphones and kind of disappear into your own world. And I think that pairs really nicely with having an activewear company that cares so much about that, because it's not just, you know, trying to make a quick buck off of selling the clothes. It's really showing that we're there for you. And like you mentioned, having that partnership or that relationship with some of your customers to take it that step further is just it's a really nice thing.
Definitely. And have you found with any of the people that have been your customers that it's actually drove them towards going to the gym? Because I can appreciate people may buy gym wear, but I think the gym can play such an important part in helping someone's mental health that I'd naturally expect some of the people that you've helped to actually get into that.
Yeah, so a lot of people from the messages we received, they were also asking, like, have you got any gym advice? Like, how am I going to bulk? Like, how am I going to put on muscle mass? Things like that. And I think from that, they've taken that advice on. And yeah, we've helped them mentally and physically, essentially.
Well, that's great, and I suppose there's a lot of avenues you can go with that as from the business side of things as well. Just naturally, I think going to the gym, right? I know the first time I ever went, it's quite a daunting experience sometimes because obviously you're not. I ain't wham now, you know what I'm saying? But like, you go down there and it's like, okay, I don't really know what I'm doing or that sort of thing. And like, what a good idea it would be to kind of maybe potentially have a Matador gym down the line and help people get into that, like a bit of a lighter route in or a bit of an easier route that's smoother for them. So
that'd be sick. Like, that's definitely one of our future plans. Future ambitions to. We talk about the Matador community, so on our website we've got plenty of pictures of everyone representing our logo, and the whole story behind the logo itself. I'm not sure if we've mentioned before. So it's obviously Matador. It's a bullfighter. The logo is a bull. So effectively, an individual suffering from these mental battles is the Matador, and then the mental battle is the bull. So kind of nice play on words.
Definitely, man. It resonates so much, don't it? And I didn't know that until I think you mentioned it. Or did I speak to who did I speak to on the phone?
Michael
Michael told me. Yeah, I thought it was amazing, man. Amazing. And I see like your guys' TikTok and that.
Yes,
blowing
yeah.
on it.
Yeah, he's the expert himself.
Yeah.
So we just started creating it, and then within probably a couple of weeks,
Yeah,
what,
started
like
blowing
10k,
up.
15k followers, and
Wow.
it just kept going and going and going.
Took off.
Yeah, which was really nice because it was nice to see like your idea.
Yeah.
People around the world are
Interested.
in it.
Yeah, so nice. I think once you do get that feedback and that sort of recognition from people who are interested in your brand, what you've had in your head and they brought it to life is amazing. Do you know what I mean? It's like when we do this and we get feedback and things, it's like, that's why you do it.
Yeah, exactly.
You know?
Yeah, definitely pays off.
Yeah, exactly that. But yeah, I was on you guys' TikToks, like your editing and everything's so sick. So yeah, people go check it out, Matador on TikTok and all that. But yeah, we'll talk about that later. I need a bit of advice.
Because you've just set up the Spanish version of it.
Yes,
Well.
so obviously Matador is a Spanish word. Yeah, my family just recently moved to Spain, so it kind of plays into that. And we want to like effectively go into the Spanish market, as we see a gap in the market there. And obviously Gymshark is in England. If Matador could be the Spain version, yeah, who knows what avenue that could go down. So yeah, set up the Spanish TikTok just to support the Spaniards out there with their motivation and gym and things like that.
It's a good idea because like it's obviously a different platform, but I know Mr. Beast. He creates YouTube channels in a variety and like
so many different languages.
And I think like probably the ones that are doing the least views on his, like I think anyone would be happy to get that many views. So yeah, definitely a really good idea, and I think like I get the gist as well that like maybe in Europe and the US the crisis of mental health isn't maybe to such an extent as it is here, which would naturally make me feel like there's not going to be, as you said, there'd be a gap in the market there because there's not going to be as many similar type brands. So definitely I think it would be a good idea to go and tap into those markets, and also just to get the message out wider as well, because I think also it's good for us to let people know as a country that like there is a lot of shit going on here with mental health, and like support is needed too, because how many of our NHS workers come from abroad, and there's a massive lack of those at the moment. So definitely, I think it's good.
Yeah, I think it's hard for some people to speak about it as well. I mean, I know from personal experience, it's not the easiest thing to go up to someone and tell them you're struggling. So having people that are there for you to listen, and we're not therapists, like we're not medical professionals or anything like that, but we're people that you can come and talk to, and we're gonna, listen and take on board what you have to say. We're not gonna sort of push you away and preaching that whole sort of like community, sort of family feeling. And I think that's what draws people towards Matador, and I think shows a bright future in it as well, because there's that sort of like Spanish market, and we're not being discriminative. We're opening up everywhere, everyone, just trying to be as inclusive as we can to make sure people feel comfortable and don't feel like they have to keep their problems to themselves.
Yeah, and I feel like you're so bang on there. I think when you build your own community, it is easier for someone to come to you guys, because the whole going to a GP or someone professional is quite a daunting experience first off. And when you're talking about younger generations who potentially are still in school, college or uni and things, they don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because that whole like stigma around it of speaking up feels dismissive to them, and they don't want people to know about that. So it's easier for someone to go to like yourselves and talk to you and focus it around like being in the gym, and then that conversation will naturally come at some point where they are like actually reaching out. And I think that's like the beautiful thing about like what we do as well, that it's very natural and there's no pressure on it. If you just want to talk about how shit your day was or how great your day was, that's cool. Like we understand that you just need someone to talk to.
To vent to, yeah.
To vent to, yeah, and that's it. And unfortunately, some people don't have enough of that in their lives. So, yeah.
A lot of people, I think, just even now, like you just don't. We always say how you don't see people really speaking out around you majority of the time. Yeah. I think it's still just really the same as that now most of the time. Like, and it with like a platform like ours or Matador, like if someone wants to stay anonymous to message you, they can, which makes a big difference for some people, because just being, like, I know for me, it took me a long time to speak to any of my friends, like years. And if there'd been I don't know if I would have spoke out earlier if there was a platform like ours or yours, definitely, but definitely gives people the option, because I think if you can speak and stay anonymous, it sometimes makes people feel more shielded in a way.
Yeah.
And because like it does, you do feel kind of weak initially because when reaching out, because that's what the world's taught you to feel in that circumstance.
Society's expectations have got like men being so big and brave and strong, but I mean, we're humans, we've got feelings too, so...
That's it, and you're doing calisthenics, so, like, there you go, do you know what I'm saying? Hopefully I pronounced it correctly there, but... so there, like, you can be strong and cry, like, do you know what I mean? I go to gym every day and I've cried before, do you know what I'm saying? It's sweet. Do you know, like, but that's the thing, it's like, but no one really says it straight to the point like that,
no,
you know?
They don't know.
It's like, but, yes, I can just say it's better not to dodge it from personal experience, but yeah.
Yeah, 100%. No, I agree, man, and it's the whole thing around the stigma of men, like... not speaking up and things like ultimately can lead to suicide. There's too many suicides for men. That's the problem with it.
800,000 people a year. I don't know how many. What the stats, and is that men or just in general? I know
that's men in general. I think it's 144,000 in the UK.
Yeah,
it's crazy. And how many people does that affect? Like families and stuff like that. You got to think that's going like
times that
millions.
By 5.
Millions of people affected, and it's like I was just gonna pause on what I was gonna say because I was going to say that's preventable. I didn't like to assume that it's always preventable for people, but I feel like it should be in a sense. It should be preventable for people because you shouldn't have to be in that place where you go that far. Like I've been in places where I've been fairly close to that when I was younger. Luckily, I never went through it. I never really had that in me to go through it. But like you said, people do every day, you know, and like that's something we can avoid. Like so many people die in the world from diseases and stuff like that. Like we really need to work on the stuff that we know we can definitely prevent as well.
Stopping it at a very early stage.
That's it.
Yeah.
Rather than letting it progress. Because after some people, like all the help in the world, that they've obviously made their decision, which is really sad. But if you maybe can get to them when they're a lot younger and it's not maybe as bad, like their mental health isn't as bad, then maybe you can make that change.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think like a lot of people, because obviously you mentioned like families and stuff are going to be affected, and I think they're all left with the big question of like, well, what if? Like, if they did speak to someone, would it have been different or could it have changed?
Yeah.
I saw on the news the other day, it was the man who jumped off the San Francisco Bridge, and he described what it was like hitting the water and surviving, because when you fall, you end up reaching almost like 75 miles an hour.
Yeah, he said as soon as he jumped, he regretted it, didn't he?
So it's almost like catching it as early as you can to tell people like that there's another option. Like, it's even if you've hit rock bottom, the only way you can go is up from there. So it's just trusting in the process, believing in it, and kind of like you mentioned, everyone's going to have their days. You know, there's times when people are going to get close to it, but it's just knowing you've got sort of an outlet or a platform. I mean, like therapy can cost so much these days. So having something where it's literally just you open your phone or your computer and you send a message and you've got that person to rely on or have that chat with. I mean, a problem shared is a problem halved. So
100%.
Definitely. And I think we mentioned about therapy there. I saw a post the other day and it was like someone was waiting, it was like 3 years or 8 years or something for therapy. I think it was 8 years for therapy. Like, and it's quite, see, for me, I've done therapy and I literally put in a referral one day and I got a call back 2 days later. Ollie's had a slightly different experience than that, and we've met people who've had much wider experiences and in terms of the amount of time it's took for them to actually speak with someone. But like 8 years in the UK, like that for some people, they're not going to be around hours, let alone 8 years, and like that's why I think there's such an important place for the platforms like us, because it could literally be the difference between someone taking that step and like. And what caught my ear as well is that you mentioned families after thinking what if, and it's like that's a horrible position for them to be in, you know, and it's just like, and I'd imagine that's probably what you would think, because we've obviously lost some mates, and it's like you do think that afterwards. It's like, okay, well, what if I just asked if they were okay that time or something along those lines, you know? So yeah, we just need to normalise that convo as much as possible.
1,000,000%, and it's also like in your head as well. Is like, did I do enough for you? And the scary thing about it is that you sometimes are completely unaware that someone is going through that. Yeah. So it's like, but I didn't know. Because you didn't show me anything. Some people hide it very well. And that's the scary thing as well, because you could be speaking to someone, having a laugh, and then that same night they can go and commit suicide. And it's like, so where do you sort of find that recognition that someone is going through that without someone being open about it?
It's crazy.
So,
exactly.
I've been with someone the day before, and like we were laughing, joking. Last thing they said to me was, "Oh, I love you, no, Dom." I was like, shut up, man. What are you talking about? Next day they're gone. Do you know what I'm saying? So, and it's like, they're like, so I know I hit it well, so it's difficult, and it's like, you're right, getting in early and kind of getting taught the tools, I think was a major thing for me, just because and also the signs, because you don't know really sometimes are confused about what's actually going on in your body, because there are physical symptoms obviously to depression, anxiety, etc. But also a bigger part of it, I think elements of our society drive mental health issues, because like it doesn't just happen for nothing. So obviously stress is a big one for people. So I think the main, obviously any illness really, you got to look at the root cause of it it's the main way of getting rid of it. Naturally, we live in a society where we just really treat symptoms of things, of mental health included. But I think the real way to affect kind of the major change in that area is to look at society as a whole and say, what do we need to change that's going to stop putting people in circumstances where they can get to that point? Because as I've mentioned, I've lived other places in the world, and you can't see through people and see what they're thinking, but places that you would expect based on what you're told. For example, I lived in Indonesia, whereas it was third world country. In a general sense, the level of happiness you see in people, for me when I was there, felt higher than it was here. Yeah. And I say felt because you can't know, but like you would expect the opposite at face value, but that's not what really I experienced. So the question is, why is that? But yeah, that's a big question in itself.
Well, mate, go to Spain, mate. No one's complaining out there. Everyone's happy.
Nice, in the sun.
Yeah. People are just chilling in the daytime, having a coffee, talking to everyone.
Literally, yeah. It's so laid back out there.
Such a different thing. You do that in England, mate. Yeah. Well, you know what I mean?
Listen, I have a laid back coffee every lunchtime.
Yeah.
I know, but I mean, like, mate, you just walk down the street in Spain, and it's like people just talk to you, and like everyone just got a smile on their face. And obviously, the weather and that is included in that, but still, just their actual communities of like how they treat each other, and like everyone knows, everyone respects each other. It's like it's completely.
I think
different.
you hit it there, community.
Yeah.
Because like I don't know, like is there a real sense of community a lot of the time in the UK? Like I don't know how many of my neighbours do I know well.
Yeah.
Like,
I think everyone's just too stuck in their own ways. They don't even realise they're so like focused.
We're occupied.
Yeah.
Pretty much most of the time as well.
Yeah.
Like, if let's say like me and Ollie, obviously, like, I know obviously you're working on your brand as well, but like let's say most people in a full-time job, like, some people work 6 days, 7 days a week. When's the time? Like, exactly. But there's obviously you got to make the time. That's the answer to the question, really. But like, when's the time to actually sit back and think and work on yourself? Maybe a couple of hours at the end of the day before you go to sleep. So that actually sitting back, thinking, okay, how do I feel? If there's something that you're dealing with, kind of going through that in your own time, whether that's meditating on it, whatever works for you. That doesn't really come into most people's day-to-day thoughts to think about their mental health, because they're so occupied doing other things. Yeah. So this comes back to that question of like society, and like something that I've seen recently is a 4-day work week, and they've said that people have actually been, well, let's say the results on how people are feeling about that has been a lot better. But,
bring it on.
Yeah, but they're like, they work longer hours though. This is what I thought. You just give me a day back free.
Nah, I'll do 11-hour day if I.
Yeah, but I'm doing them already. So like,
yeah, I'm not.
I mean, I think the idea behind it though is it's going to increase productivity, because by giving the people the extra free time, obviously you get to spend time with your family or sit in the sun. If you do live somewhere like Spain and you're in a 4-day working week, or you get to chill on the beach, and even being in the sun is going to increase your serotonin, so you're going to be much happier. I mean, I love Matador so much because we're exercising. That activewear is going to release those endomorphins, make you really happy and just energetic, and when you come out of the gym, even if you've done a 10-minute workout, you're going to feel so much better than when you went in there.
Yeah.
So something like a 4-day working week is great, because it gives that people the chance to rest and kind of let their mind come out of the process. If you're doing a 6-day working week, that one day you get off isn't enough time to let your brain kind of shut out of the work mode. So you're just constantly always in it. It feels like you're kind of like stuck in like a rat trap or something.
In a cycle,
like that. Yeah. Just a loop and you can't get out of it. But...
And that day off that you do have, if you are doing 6 days, it's like you're just thinking, oh God, I've got to go do another 6 days.
You don't even want to go have a couple of beers. You think, I've got to be up for work the next day. Like
they seem to go so fast as well.
Quick, and I think that 4-day week, it's a good idea, and like, especially for you if you are working on a side hustle as well, it gives you another day to like, work on yourself and do that, because that. If you use that other day like beneficially and don't like stay in bed and things, then it can work amazing for you. Do you know what I mean?
Do you know what though? What I do see when I hear about that 4-day work week, they don't forget to mention that the companies have still managed to keep like profitability while they're doing it. Yeah. So it's not like they've taken a hit like because of the people working there. Which obviously the company's going to think like that, because that's how companies think, right? But yeah, I always feel like with these kind of, what's the best word? These are like kind of agendas you get in the workplace. Like mental health's a big one, actually. Diversity's a big one, but it is always a lot of the time at the focus in a way that it's okay because it's benefiting the company, and it's kind of like that's my experience of it. Like I do recruitment, so like sales is kind of an area where some of that back in the day, that stuff used to go out the window. It's like get on the phones and do your job. Like you don't have like you got to work for your lunch, that sort of thing. Where that's changing now, and it's difficult because that change is benefiting people, but you always think like, is it the change for the right reasons?
Yeah. How dare you talk to someone else in the office? Get on the phone, innit?
Yeah, it used to be like that. Like I had a sales job, right, and it was like you couldn't sit down. Like you only got to sit down if you were at one point of what you were called, and this is like what 6-7 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. So it's that. Don't get me wrong, like. There was still a time where you'd probably sit down because like you don't not just gonna do what someone's telling you like that all the time, but it was that was the rules. Yeah, like it was savage to that extent. So it's a good change, and I like it is a big thing now in the workplace, like diversity, mental health. But yeah, it's like almost like just to compare it to something like let's say women in tech is a big thing for what I do, right? Because I do tech recruitment. Like financial services companies used to get bonuses if they hired extra women. So it comes back to the thing, good cause, but like, is it done for the right reasons?
Profitable.
Yeah.
No, it's not the right reason, is it? But same as me, like I've worked in like construction and all them things. So like having a woman come on to like as an actual worker, like a tradeswoman, like for social media and things, is so profitable for the company. Unbelievably.
Looks so good.
Looks so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. You put a
You
woman
look so
in uniform.
diverse.
Yeah, it's like you're really accepted, and it's like, yeah, but I know why you've hired her. It's not for
Yeah,
that. It's
that's
not actually because you want to hire her. It's because like it's going to make your company look good. So fortunately, everything just revolves around money, doesn't it? At the end of the day.
Yeah, money makes the world go around.
It does. But what I wanted to ask you, lads, as well about starting up a clothing brand, at your age. What is your ages? So the viewers can know.
So I'm 22.
Yeah.
I'm 19.
21.
Wow, cool. 19, Josh, yeah?
Yeah, he's younger.
I
get that a lot.
Yeah. I've got it for years, mate. I looked about 16.
Yeah.
I was like
that beard's only come about recently.
It's not real. But yeah, what I wanted to ask you is doing this clothing brand and focusing it on mental health, what was your sort of like first initial thoughts of how people would sort of take that?
So we didn't think anything like negative would come of it at all, obviously. I think as an overall perspective, we thought it would go really, really well in terms of it's because it's such a need that people like nowadays. Obviously, we discussed mental health stuff like that. We thought, right, this is something that we can people can buy into. We can build a community, and as you said, obviously selling a few clothes along the way, which then the donations go to mental health, so like full circle it.
Yeah,
which is really nice. But we didn't think we'd ever get any like negative backlash towards it. We're just here to help people with their physical and mental health.
Yeah, I only asked that question as well because like when we first done Chaps, for us it's like we had to be very like vocal about what's gone on in our lives, and obviously like we was okay with that because we wanted to help people, so it's like we have to be very like transparent with our journeys and how we talk for people to resonate and have trust in us to be able to talk as well. So like when we first started it off, like it was daunting and things, and like everyone was talking about it. Do you know what I mean? They're like have you seen what Ollie's talking
I told him
about?
yes,
Like, Dom talking
and
about.
I was in my mind running up to the time. He was like, "Don't fucking do that." Like literally, he was like, I was like, "I can't do that," because like originally we had always spoke about doing something mental health focused, but he come up with the idea initially for the podcast, and it's like, yeah, I was just thinking, I literally can't do it. So it's quite daunting, and it's like I know what you mentioned that you don't expect to really get any backlash off the back of that, which you don't. I think just sometimes like social media is a weird place. Like you know, and there's always someone who's not happy with something like a lot of the time, and it's like we've experienced that in little ways. But one thing I just wanted to say as well, like obviously naturally we're just speaking about other businesses, but like I think it's so great that you've built this on the premise of helping people as well. So that's a major thing, and like that's what I was kind of comparing in the sense of like you get a lot of business that they're down the line, they're doing it because everyone else is doing it, but to actually start something on the premise of helping people, I think is a real game changer.
That's
in that
the
way.
vision you came to me with. That is the overall mission and vision.
Yeah, that's so. On our Instagram, you can obviously set up a business account. You usually put like clothing and apparel. Ours is community. Just to like actually show to show that we're representing. And obviously, as Michael says, the main aim is to sell something that people can buy into the community, and then whatever we sell with clothing is a byproduct of that.
Yeah, and also it markets getting the message out there, which is great as well. Like, 'cause that's which obviously gets a lot more face time for this mental health subject as well.
I think that's just our challenge at the moment. It's just getting as much outreach as possible. Just to show.
It takes time. Things take time. That's the thing with it. But you just got to stick with it and just keep doing what you're doing, man. Because it's like you guys are doing amazing already with it. And it's, what's it been, a year since your first drop? Yeah.
6 months.
Oh, sorry, September 2022. Right.
Yeah.
Bloody hell, not even that long ago. Do you know what I mean? So you guys have got so much more to come. So just keep going with it. Like that's the thing with us, and it's like it's consistency is key. Yeah. And sometimes it's hard. It's hard, especially when you're focusing it around mental health, because it's such a broad subject and there's so much to talk about. There's so much to take in. Like
definitely a learning curve. Isn't it?
It's massive. And like listening when you are actually so in touch with your customers, like you guys are, you'll be taking on a lot of people's emotions as well. So like you have to still worry about your well-being in the process of doing that too. You know. So like it's massive. It's and you lot must be flat out, like busy designing and all that, and then having to be in touch with people.
Yeah,
like,
it is really busy schedule. I've got a full-time job as well, so
I
just have my weekends and evenings to do it. But flat out at the minute.
I'm doing a master's at the moment in business,
really?
So it helps. So I have probably a lot more free time than these two do. So I'm able to like do the content, say for the TikTok, and then if Liam says, "Oh, can we message like these people?" because they say have it in our request, or message a supplier. But it is like I don't think people understand what goes on behind the scenes. They just see the product and then the website. That's it.
Yeah.
They don't see everything that goes on behind.
Have you seen the photo of the iceberg?
It's
like the top is poking out, and underneath everyone sees that final product, but there's like a lot of work that goes in behind the scenes.
We've been reaching out to a lot of boxers that are mental health advocates. So Anthony Sims Jr., he's also called the Magician, American boxer, he's mental health advocate. Sent him some free stuff over.
Nice.
Just trying to get into that niche. Mental health advocates.
Yeah.
Good man, it's gonna work out good for you boys. It must be like exciting for you guys to think where it's gonna go, innit?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting to see where it can take us.
Yeah, wicked man. Well, listen, we'll support it as much as we can and share it where we can and things like that as well. And if you guys ever need anything as well, let us know.
Is these all the jumpers?
Yes. The recent.
Yeah, I'll definitely. I need to grab myself one anyway, so I'll definitely grab one.
I'm gonna grab one as well. But it's cool, man. It's a mindset game. Do you guys come up with all of your quotes and things on your own?
So when I was designing all the branding, I was doing the logo. So I did graphics at school and college. So I knew my ways around Adobe Illustrator and Photoshop. Came up with the logo, and then came up. I thought, we need a motto. Like we need something. Like obviously we've got the logo, we've got the meaning behind the logo. We need something else to add on to that. Which I came up with. It's a mindset game, which is I think real niche. You don't really see that often.
Mindset is just obviously so important as well, because it's like you can't better yourself in any way until you believe it and that you can be that person that you want to be, right?
That placebo effect.
Yeah, literally.
See it to believe it. They did.
Don't get me into the placebo effect.
They did an experiment on it where they took, I think it was like 20 people that had like a knee injury, and 10 of them they gave them surgery, and then the other 10 they just like cut open and sewed it back up.
You've been reading Joe Dispenza books.
They basically proved that the placebo effect, the people that didn't actually have the surgery healed just as well, because in their mind they had the surgery, they just hadn't been told that they hadn't. So it's crazy to think, but anyone wants to read a good book, Supernatural, Joe Dispenza is a great book. But I mean, generally it's like at the end of the day we're projecting what we see. So if you want to build reality, like personality is your personal reality. So like you're building what you see in front of you. So you need to believe that like. It doesn't have to be mental health. It could be you want to lose weight. You need to believe that you can lose that weight before you do it. It's like having knowledge. You can't explain something or how you do something before you have the knowledge of how you do it. So it's definitely very important on the mindset. And I think a lot of people sometimes can forget the mindset and forget sometimes if you're experiencing mental health issues, it's because change is needed. A lot of time in behaviours. Like I had to change my behaviours alongside action and a lot of other things to make my mental health better previously. So it's being conscious of that makes it, I'm not going to say smooth, but a smoother journey. Because like the worst, it's very difficult to change. Like if you've got bad mental health, it's very difficult to change if you're kind of stuck in the mindset you're in, because that's
part of why you're obviously experiencing.
Conor McGregor video. Just thought of. I think he said if you can see it and hear, you have the confidence to believe it will happen.
Yeah, well, he's a big visualizer, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%.
It's like the example you gave. It's like that, the piano one as well.
Yes, yeah.
Because I've actually experienced not for a long time, but I recently started kickboxing at the start of the year, and I thought, let me try that out and just like picture myself like doing like a jab or something, and see if it actually. Obviously, I'm trying to improve anyway, but see if it actually makes it any better. Like, obviously, not been doing it long enough yet, but we'll see how it plays out. But off the back of what I said there, like basically people were playing a piano, then they got people to picture playing the piano mentally, and they were as good as the people who had been practicing in real life. Similar to the surgery scenario he gave. So, like, just knowing that should change your mindset in itself.
Yeah.
Like, that's information that probably people wouldn't believe, a lot of people, if you told them. Like,
yeah, I think, like, with this, a mindset game as well, you mentioned change a lot. Sometimes change can be quite scary.
Yes.
Like, some people might change job, or you might move to a different country, or something like that. It changes your whole life. So all of a sudden, you're sat there thinking, like, oh, I'm back to square one. And it can be scary, but at the end of the day, it's a mindset game. Yeah. Like, you have to be able to hold yourself accountable for what goes on and really focus in. And like you said, your mind's like, it's a muscle. You've got to train your mind the same way you train your body. That's why people have the look good, feel good sort of thing, because you're training your body, you're training your mind. It makes you a lot more healthy, and you just got to kind of keep pushing through it, which I know is quite a hard one, but...
Truth.
Yeah.
Got to play the game.
Got to be done, isn't it? But it all comes from imagination. I was watching a podcast the other day, and someone on there says, it's all imagination. Someone pictured in their head about a light bulb, about electricity, all these things. It's like, where does it all stem from? So it's like whatever you can imagine in your mind, like you've done with your brand and you brought it to life, anything's possible really, but you just have to believe that it's going to work. That's it.
100%.
And as long as you have that and you just keep running with it, eventually it will pay off in the way that you expected it to, but if you don't have that belief in it, then it's like you've already sort of set up to fail, because you don't even have your own belief in what you're creating. So it is just about being strong in the mind, but it is a hard thing to do, Josh, you're right. And I think like to train your mind, this is why the whole mental health thing is like, you need to get in there early from when people are young, to let them understand that it's okay to go through things and like to speak up. Otherwise it's a setback for people having all these doubts in their head all the time, and it's like you don't need to have them there.
It's like years. It's years of like it literally took me probably like 4 or 5 years to come out of depression when I was younger. And it's like at first you go through different phases. It's like confusion because you don't know. Then you have an inkling that it might be something related to mental health because of something you've seen. Then it's like, okay, you come to the point that you've made a decision, okay, like I'm depressed. Then it's like, okay, well, what's the action to get past that? And there's a little gap there because I think some people, like when you're depressed, it's actually to take any action is a big thing in itself, just because you don't want to do, most of the time, like you don't want to do anything. And everyone who like used to, it makes me think, because everyone used to say, oh, these teenagers, they just sleep in all the time, this and that. And it's there might be an inkling that someone else is going on there. And that's why maybe they, like, because like for me, it was like, I just wouldn't get out of bed for like most of the day, and like even when you get out, you just feel like fatigued. So it's a really crazy process in that sense. But like if you were given these tools in school, I think it would just prevent a lot of people that actually get to that point. Like I think meditation should be taught in all schools, just because like it's. I don't know how to explain it, but once you do it for a period of time, you see the benefits that you reap.
I was going to say, have you seen like the brain scan of someone before and after meditation?
Yeah.
It's incredible to see what happens, like how clear your mind is after it.
Yeah.
But we had, when I was in school, we had someone who would come in and do meditation lessons with us.
Oh, really?
During, PSHE, I think it's called.
Yeah.
And it was great. It was really interesting because obviously as a kid you get the odd like lad in the class that starts to giggle and everyone kind of goes off of each other.
That's probably me or him.
Yeah. But even so, like sitting in the silence and sitting with your thoughts, it's a hard thing to do. Like you realise that when you start to be alone, and I think like that kind of links back to the whole lockdown, the only people you're surrounded by are your family, and when they start to annoy you, you're trying to spend time alone, so you just get in your own head sort of thing. But sometimes that's the best thing you can do to kind of deal with it.
Yeah.
You can sound stupid, but talk to yourself, figure out what the problem is. So
I talk to myself in the gym sometimes. I look at that weight, I talk to myself, I'm like, I'm going to lift you up. But it's like, you see like Eddie Hall, right? He says that like, he'll talk to himself when he's lifting weights, and he'll actually visualize in his mind that his wife and his daughter are stuck underneath. Like I can't remember what he actually said it was, like something, and like visualize that he actually has to lift that, otherwise they're gonna die. And then he said that's how he lifts the heaviest things that he does. So there's like a funny element to things like that, right? But this visualization and actually sticking to your mindset and believing that and kind of fine tuning your mindset keeps you in the game.
It's a mindset game.
It's a mindset. Yeah.
But that Eddie Hall one, that's a really interesting one because he found out about that from a story in the news of a girl that managed to lift a truck off of her dad that rolled over.
Yeah.
So it's like I think she was either 15 or 16, and she managed to lift we're talking a 2-3 ton truck.
That's crazy.
Up enough so that her dad could get out of it. And he was basically looking at it, and the study was that when someone has that amount of like, not stress, but it's that life or death situation, she had access to 100% of her muscle fibres. Yeah. So it just showed truly how strong humans can be. So he had to literally meditate so he could go on and do something like that. I mean, my cousin's a powerlifter. He's a British junior champion. So he's lifting some crazy weights. And I mean, the mentality you have to get under a 300 kg squat it would crush someone like me, break both my knees in. So it's crazy to think like what's going on inside of his head. But
that's crazy because do you know what, someone told me that story about Eddie Hall, and then like when you just said the rest of it about the little girl, like it came back to me. But 2-3 tons, like
it's crazy.
That's unfathomable to most people, right? They're not going to believe that. But then it just shows you what, as a human, you're capable of.
Yeah,
right?
It just shows how strong your mindset can actually be.
We're capable of a lot more than we're led to believe, because I won't get into that, but I feel like if you have to, I'll go down. He knows the route I'll go down with that. It's like, people want to keep you weak in a sort of way, right? But it's like, but if you could believe if you hear someone does something like that, then how much that must make you believe, okay, I can overcome this, I can beat this mental health, and it's like, actually having that mentality to actually believe you're going to overcome it is such an important place in that journey. But it just shows you how much we're capable of.
100%. And what's your sort of guys' advice then if you had to say to someone who is going through mental health at the moment of what the future can look like for them?
I'd say, so obviously I'm going to go into a quote here. The boy, the fox. No? Can I go back?
The boy, the mouse, the fox,
yes,
the horse.
The mole.
The boy, the mole, the fox.
Right, we're going to go. So it's a quote we said, the boy, the mole, the fox and the horse. That's the right order. And within that, it came out at Christmas. It was on the BBC, and they said, so the boy says to the horse, what's the bravest thing you've ever said? And the horse replied, help. Asking for help isn't giving up. And I think that's such an important message, that if you go out and you say to someone, look, I'm struggling here, that's not you giving up. That's you going, I can get better, and I'm going to take the steps to get better. But a lot of people never take those steps. So I think, obviously, sending a message out that it is okay. Like, it's a brave thing to do, but you can do it. I think that's really important.
I think the quote that links really well from that's also in the same one, is the boy there lost in the woods, and he says, I'm lost, like I don't know where I'm going, I can't see my way out, sort of thing. And the horse says, well, can you see your next step? And the boy says, yes. And it's like, well, just take that. Like that whole thing of make yourself 1% better every day. Over 100 days, you're going to be feeling a lot better than you were before that. I know obviously it's another clothing company, but Gymshark do their like 66. So it's like you do 66 days of like something or a form of exercise or change. There's like a 75 hard challenge where for 75 days you wake up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m, work out, put an hour into a side hustle or something like that. For November we did running.
Yes, so we ran at least 5k every day. I think we ran as a community. Like if someone within the Matador community wants to take part, so Josh, for instance, he ran 5k as well. That contributed to it, so it accumulated to 500 kilometres throughout November. We raised just shy of £200. So.
Nice. Well done.
That was really. It was tough though, running 5k every day.
What, you ran 5k every day?
Every single day.
Every day, yeah.
Nah, mate.
I thought you were running 5k.
Like once a week. I'll do like probably 2 or 3k like every other day, but 5K a day is hard work, man. That's a lot.
You
of
started
running,
then doing half marathons within that.
Yeah, on the first day I did 15k. So.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah.
Are you road running or in a gym?
Road running, yeah.
I prefer road running, to be fair.
Yeah.
It takes more out of you road running though, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's the hills.
I think it's a lot better for you as well. It's a bit draining standing on a treadmill staring at the clock just go.
I just get bored on the
Put
treadmill.
your headphones on and kind of run in your own world.
Yeah.
You get like that runner's high of you just endomorphins are released and you're just happy, really.
Yeah, and I feel like road running as well, like it makes it go quicker in your mind.
Yeah. Well, I don't think I could do 5k every day on a treadmill. I don't think that'd be really good.
I think it's really important to have like a training partner as well. A lot of people like to train alone, but obviously I think it's really good to have someone that you can kind of bounce off and is on your bad days is going to pick you up, and then when they're having a bad day you can pick them up, sort of thing. My dad ran the marathon, I think it's 2 years ago now, so he was training for it and I was like, why not? So I joined along. We were doing like 10, 14k here, there, run around a nice lake in Virginia Water a few times. And we just kind of bounce off of each other because he can go for runs by himself, but it's different when you've got that younger person who's definitely a bit faster than him. He's going to see me on that now. He won't listen to that. And yeah, I mean, we used to do cycling together, so it's like having someone you can bounce off. Me and Liam train together sometimes, which is really nice because number one, you get a nice little break in between the sets. But number two, you know, there's no cheating your reps or anything. If we're going to call each other out on something, it's for a good reason. You've kind of got each other to push you that extra step.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, exactly what you said.
Yeah, it's motivational, isn't it? Everyone needs a bit of motivation at times. That's the thing. I feel like, I don't know, whenever I go gym, I go on my own or like for a run on my own. And it's like music for me is alright. As long as I've got music. If I don't have music, I ain't going. That's it. Yeah. And it's like, obviously you don't want to listen to music that's playing out in the gym, innit?
There's some have you seen those TikToks of like
Mate, I go early in the morning, right? So I'll probably be down there about 5 o'clock, and it's like just because there's no one there, they've had to leave it on. Sometimes there's been like some I don't know any specific songs, but some proper rogue stuff. But sometimes you get a little decent song. Like I've Shazammed a couple. I'm not gonna, not gonna lie. But for me, it's like I don't know. Like I do like training with someone. I train alone, but I think probably the reason for that is it's just the time I go, and like, you know, when it's like I'm trying to fit it in before I go to work, and it's like if I've got an hour, it's like obviously you can alternate onto different things, right? But I'm like, oh, do I really want to have the hour with someone else, like, and I'm having to wait, or I'm not using all the time? But each in their own, because I suppose like when you're training with someone, you can push yourself a bit more because you don't, if you need someone to spot you, you don't have to worry about it. So there's definitely pros, I think, to both sides anyway.
Yeah, 100%. Any questions for us?
I was gonna say, how did you guys start this? What was the story behind it all?
Yeah, I mean, me and Dom, like, we've been through mental health issues ourselves. So, like, you know, depression, anxiety, grief, and all these things, PTSD. So, I think like I was going through quite a bad year in 2021, was it? 2021. Like, broken down relationship, all that. I was drinking massively and just weren't in a good headspace. Lost my job and all them things. So, I was going through it, and then like I just stopped everything and I just went clean, basically, and sort of got my shit back together. And then when I done that, it's like I was in the right headspace to create Chaps Chat, because we spoke about it for years. Like, we wanted to do something, but we just wasn't in that right mindset to do it at that point. So yeah, it just sort of come about where I just thought, you know what, there must be so many blokes out there like going through it every day. And it's like, when I was going through it, there was no page like for me to sort of turn to, do you know what I mean? Where like you can relate to people who are just talking about everyday things and like just being upfront about it. So I think like that was the main like motivation for me, is just if I was going through that alone, I don't really want someone else to go through that, to feel like they're on their own. But yeah, that's sort of my side on that.
Yeah, and I think like for me, Ollie was one of the like probably two of my best friends that I spoke to like between the ages maybe like 15, 16 to 20 about my mental health issues, just because I had really severe depression. Like I said, I nearly kind of took the worst steps you can to an extent. So, and then I think that role or has kind of swapped sides at different times as well. Like, we've all had to kind of help each other, and not just me and Ollie, like with some of our other friends as well. And as I mentioned, obviously we've lost a few friends too, which is obviously kind of, you can't avoid the subject then when you've obviously lost people. And we always knew we spoke about doing something mental health related. Never really put like this is what it will be. And then yeah, like not last year now, the year before, God. But What was it? Yeah, it's the year before, isn't it? Yeah, 2021.
November
Yeah. But yeah, Ollie kind of suggested it to me then, and I thought, what a great idea. Like I watch a lot of podcasts myself, so obviously, but then, like I said, after that it was daunting. I was thinking, like, fucking, how do I go back to him and tell him I can't do it? That thought generally crossed my mind. 'Cause I thought I can't get on here and speak about all of this, but naturally I didn't do that, luckily, and then it's played out to this point. But it's nicer to actually, I guess, being able to action your passion in a sense, like, and I'm sure it's the same for you lot as well on your side. But because like a long time, I just worked, didn't really have any hobbies for a certain extent. Like sometimes it can not difficult because you'll be there and you'll say I haven't got the time. But you've always got the time really to do what you want to do. It's just if you really want to do it that much. And it was just, I think now, like, being able to embrace my passion, actually add another element to my life has just been so beneficial for me. And actually a great part of me and Ollie doing this is, don't get me wrong, like there's always points where you could experience mental health issues again. That can happen. I personally don't think I could ever be in a point where I was before, just because of the tools I have now and the knowledge. But for me, since I had severe anxiety in the midst of COVID, which, like, I would have never believed I would never have that at that point. Like, it seemed something like the quality of life that I had was shit, because it was like constant, day in, day out. And I, like, sitting here now, I don't really suffer from any mental health issues. It's just amazing for me to be at this point, because it was unfathomable for me previously. So I think what's really important from this platform, and one of, like, the main messages, is to show, yes, obviously you want to speak about it, educate people, but also show, like, the horizon on the other side, that there is a way of moving past that. And who knows, like, hopefully there'll be other people who are doing similar things to us, to us, to both our groups, and kind of pushing the message out there, because at the end of the day, like, that's, like, I guess one of the most key things that we could hope we get off the back of this.
Yeah, it was just, I think probably, as you say, both our groups are, the main thing is helping people.
You know, people see what you're doing and see what we're doing, and people are interested in that. And all it's doing is spreading awareness, which is amazing.
Which is literally the main aim of both of these.
Yeah, I was going to say, you got a few orders from...
Yeah, so we've had, drop one, we had a few orders from America,
Nice.
the Netherlands, Malta was one.
Malta, yeah, was someone in Malta.
And then this time round, I think one's Belgium, America again. Yeah, we're getting a name out there slowly but surely.
Globally, boys, doing well.
Even if you can help one person, you're making a difference.
Yeah, exactly, yeah.
I was going to say, like, what's quite interesting about America as well, because we sometimes do some Insta Lives where if it's someone who can't get down to us for the podcast, we'll do an Insta Live with them. Yeah. And we had a guy, it was Benji, wasn't it? Benji, from, and he ran a therapy service in the US. And from what he said to us, it's a lot less taboo out there than it is here. So, like, it's more of a general thing about if someone's not, let's say, suffering from severe mental health issues, that a lot of people will just have a therapist kind of generically. Which, don't get me wrong, there'll be people here that have that, but nowhere near to the extent I think over there. So I'd imagine, hopefully, kind of like, obviously now you've had a few people obviously buy the brand over there, hopefully, because it's a subject that's maybe a little bit more spoke about out there, hopefully you'll be able to push the message quite wide over there.
Yeah, a lot of our TikTok audience is actually American and North America. Yeah.
Really? Yeah.
China will be happy.
Yeah.
I said China will be happy.
But, it's just nice to spread the message internationally rather than just, I don't know, with your mates, which is your mates buying, which is still good because they're still supporting the message, but it's just nice to know that other people out there
100%.
What was the reaction from your friends kind of when you started up the brand?
I don't know, it was so long ago now. They were all a bit like, obviously they're really supportive and they all buy in. Yeah,
we kept it on the hush until I'd say, like, from the design point, it was June 2021, I think. Then we released drop 1 September just gone, so September 22. So it took us about just over a year to get to that point. So a lot of people knew about it through that. Through the TikTok, we've been posting, like, designs on our personal Instagrams.
Nice.
Like samples coming in, things like that, the bulk coming in. And yeah, once we drop them, I think everyone pretty much knows about it.
All of them support it, loads of them buy from it, and they're all there for it.
Yeah, and a lot of them do say, like, oh, we're not just buying because it's your brand and we know you, we're buying because of what you're doing.
And it affects a lot of people, so they like what we're doing.
Yeah. No, but they look like good hoodies, mate. To be fair, like even not even like to upset it, but like they look pretty thick. Like the quality of them looks good. So like it's fucking winter at the moment, so you might as well get yourself one, innit?
It looks like your designs are nice and everything. Do you know what I mean? The clothes are actually nice, so it's like you obviously you guys are like on point with what you're doing and things. So
I think it's just that added value, isn't it? It's like spreading a valuable message anyway. But if you've got obviously a subsidiary value to that, then
kind of like you mentioned, the hoodies are great.
Yeah, like
it's really like cozy, comfy. What else was in drop 2? We got really nice joggers and stuff like for runners and stuff. They really tie around the calves. So
do you have like matching joggers to match the hoodie?
Yes, so we just released the signature joggers. So they're like a short material, kind of similar to like the Lululemon sort of joggers along that path, where we want to sort of head towards.
I'll be buying some of them.
High quality stuff.
And then drop 3. Can we say what's on drop 3?
It's yet to come.
You have to wait for it.
This is exclusive content.
Exclusive. But drop 2 is shorts as well. So there's a grey pair with a reflective logo, and reflective, it's a mindset game on the back.
Cool.
What else is it? And then pump covers, so oversized t-shirts, which actually gets me explaining. Go on with that.
Yeah.
Sure. Cool.
We bought pump cover for each of you.
Oh, really? Thank you.
Thank you, mate.
I appreciate it very much. Thank you.
There you are.
Go on, Ollie will try it on now for you.
Just thank you for having us on here.
Thank you very much,
mate.
guys.
Thanks a lot.
Nice one. Cheers, man.
We're in the podcast, you can try them on and stuff, but...
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I did a medium. Wasn't too sure.
We weren't too sure what sizes you were.
Yeah, no worries. I'll have to pull it in the wash, shrink it a bit.
If me and him, before we get our channel pulled, if me and him start taking our tops.
Yeah, we'll leave that one.
Let's get them out and have a look at them, though.
Yeah, go on.
That oversized fit, and we went a really simple design on it, and it's literally just the logo on the front, which is obviously the ball.
Because I'll be honest, whenever I get a t-shirt, like if there is a logo, I prefer something small, like here or here, like not like a massive logo of the whole thing.
Yeah, they're nice.
It looked really nice. Yeah, thanks a lot for that.
Yeah, I think as well, it's like the small details as well. It's like on the hoodies, there's a tiny little logo, like a wrist.
Obviously, we've got a huge logo on the back.
Yeah, the massive one.
The first drop was lit pretty much like that. It was just a really small logo, wasn't it? And we give people that option. They can go really simple design, or they can go something a bit more out there.
I think the big logo on the back is good though, anyway, especially in the gym. Do you know what I mean?
They recognise it.
When you got people like watching you work out, like you know, in a gym, you like look around, see what people are doing. Obviously the logo on the back, when you look at someone's back,
that's it, isn't it?
Recognisable.
Yeah, because you don't want to be staring at someone in the face.
No, exactly.
Why are you looking at my back, mate?
Well, the logo on the chest, staring down at it.
Oh, thank you, lads. Yeah, honestly, the designs and everything, man, what you guys are doing is amazing. So I honestly wish you guys so much success in the future, and I'm sure that you'll have it.
And you.
And yeah, what you guys are pushing and what you're doing is just amazing. So, as we said, whatever we can do to try and help along the way, we will.
100% as well. Really like what you're doing.
Thank you.
Normalising it, which is I think is a massive thing.
Yeah. It's good. It's hard work. But
keeps you busy.
It's like it's when you enjoy it. It's it doesn't. It feels funny to even call it work.
It's not work. No, it's not work. It's not. But it's just like, as you said, like the iceberg thing. It's like people don't see what goes on behind the scenes. And
exactly. Yeah.
The whole surely you guys must know, like thinking of content and things like that.
Content's
it's hard.
It's hard. It's hard because you don't want to be repetitive.
You're sat there flicking through like other TikToks and reels, like saying, how can I turn a spin on this? And
we did our drop 2 video. Go and check it out. It's a really cool video, and I mean it's got like all the close ups. Like you can really show off the clothing, and yeah, I guess it's just. Social media is, like you guys mentioned earlier, it's a real weird one because you could create the best video that anyone's ever seen with the best edits and it get like 100 views, and then you could get some terrible like meme one that you post that goes absolutely viral. So I mean, it's up and down, but
it's mad, isn't it? It's like TikTok. You go on TikTok, someone could be there like, I don't know, eating cereal and that, but just like in a bit of a wild way. It's like, you know what I mean?
Oh, you see that? There's a guy who eats like loads of seafood out of a bowl. But it's like seafood you would see it and you think someone can't be eating that.
Yeah, no.
I think I've seen that.
You get people like eating bugs and all that and things, don't you? But yeah, it's like, mate, they get millions of views and things.
Yeah.
It's like,
people watch anything.
Like
really
you're talking about mental health and that.
Yeah, serious stuff.
Yeah.
But our promo videos, so the first one we released, that had a meaning behind it. So in our videography, he's
Callum,
great. Callum is
yeah.
amazing.
Shout out to him.
Yeah, he's only 16 and really talented guy.
Yeah,
He
brilliant.
films you all, yeah?
Yeah,
Them videos.
yeah. He's really talented.
The wizard.
The wizard. But our first drop video, to get the name out there, advert, it started off really slow and then built up like more intense exercises. It comes to a halt when I was the model in the video. I can't get over the pull-up bar trying to do a muscle up, and it's like it stops, completely standstill, and it's like sort of represents when someone's going through like mental battles, like everything just stops and like you don't really know what's doing, and like you just push through, and like the title of that video was just push through, or and
it's good, man.
Intensity built up again.
That you got messages behind all of your videos and things. That's what I mean. So it's like it's just so good what you guys are doing. But yeah, just like hope it goes really well for you guys.
I appreciate it.
Like just keep like
guys.
thank you. And it's like just obviously the importance is to like just stay as much as possible on the fact of why you're doing it and things like that.
Yeah, we never really want to deviate from that. Then it just becomes a normal gym brand, which we don't want at all. We just want to stay on that mental health focus, and I think as long as we do that, then we can keep building the community and keep building something special that people like. So
cool, 100%. So what socials are you guys on? Instagram, TikTok?
Yeah, it's
just
Instagram.
Cool.
Just Matador Activewear.
Yeah.
And check it out.
Yeah, that's it.
Naturally, on this video, obviously, we'll post all of the links for Matador underneath, so you'll be able to go and buy some of their clothing there.
Thank you very much.
All right, cool. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming on. It's been amazing.
Thank you.
Really appreciate your time and things. Thank you for the...
Thanks a lot for this.
having us on.
Cheers.
No problem at all. Yeah, thank you for coming down. And we can't wait to see what you guys do in the future. And I'm sure you guys can't either. But do go check them out, Instagram and TikTok, Matador Activewear. What they're doing is amazing. So make sure you support, share, like, do what you can to help these boys out. And hopefully we can catch up in the future and see where things are at.
Yeah, 100%.
That'd be awesome.
All right, amazing. Thank you guys, and thank you guys for joining us on another episode of Chaps Chat with me, Ollie.
And me, Dom, and our friends Matador.
And Matador.
Thanks, guys.
Take care.